this is Luke Simons with Salt Strong. I have a very fun video for you today. This was a tournament, and so I was filming what happened throughout the tournament. This was the largest slam, so snook, redfish, sea trout, largest combined length was the winner, and this was extra challenging because this was unknown territory. This is foreign territory. I've only fished here once before, and that was like 3 years ago, and I went out the day before the tournament for a few hours to check out to see what was there. Had a great time, and so I'll show you the footage first. And at the end, I'll go through our #1 mistake that we made, and also the best decision that we made as well that helped us get a solid slam on the boat. So here's the footage.
Good time, baby.
All right, so tournament morning's here. Got the boat ready to rock. What do you think, Joe?
Do it.
Yeah, boat's ready to go. We're gonna go out there, and we've got about a mile trip out here in the dark. And hopefully we can do it. It's real low tide. I've never been here when it's this low, so we're hoping for the best. All right, well, here's the ride out. This was definitely a nerve-wracking run. I had never been here at all before when it was dark, and I've only been here just a couple times when it was sunlight out, so it was a nerve-wracking run. But one trick, though, if you are in foreign territory, is to have somebody just pull out the cell phone, get on an online map, and this is the map where it actually shows where you are on top of the Google map, and that way you can see exactly where you are. I could see all the sandbars and then exactly where we were going, which kept us safe. All right, so the great news is that we got to the area that I wanted to get to. We got there safely, which was the #1 concern. This was pitch black. I couldn't see much. But the bad news is that I didn't understand how low the tides would actually be. I totally misjudged how low the low was, and so I couldn't even get to the actual spot that I had found a lot of fish in. So that was a totally wasted morning. And really, we were just casting in the dark in areas that we really had no idea what was there. There really wasn't much bait. It didn't look promising. We had a couple wakes to our lures, but finally the sun got up. The water got high enough where I was able to get back into the spot that I had identified as a good feeding zone, and that's when the action started. All right, just landed this trout. Realized I didn't have my GoPro on, unfortunately. But it's a solid one. 21. All right, 21-inch trout. We'll take it. So once we started catching some fish and just noticed that there were some good life around this area, we just went super slow. We went very slow, recovering every inch of the water, making as long of casts as possible given how calm it was. And there we go, I just hooked up another nice trout. This one might actually weigh more, but this one's just almost 20. All right, nice fish. There we go. Right, so here's the lure I was using. It was a 5-inch paddle tail, and I was just putting it on one of the weighted hooks. The paddle tail is made by Southeastern Tackle. I'll put a link down below, and also put a link down below for the hook as well. But using it to cover a lot of ground, and then I was putting some Procure on it. So this is some scent, just to get some scent in there as well, just in case the fish were hesitant. I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss any potential strikes. And so that was it. That was what I was using, and nice Joe had just switched over to the gulp, and there he just hooked up as well. Trout. That's a solid one. That's another 20-incher. Oh, quick release. So here we are at the exact same spot. This was looking fishy, a lot of good bait around. Joe just hooked up, and we thought this was the red. It had a good start. You can see that rod tip starting to bump. When it bumps like that, it's almost always a jack. And so sure enough, turns out to be a jack. Still fun, but not the redfish we were looking for. So check this out. Joe just caught this jack. Is your lure still in there, or did you take it out?
Here's the lure I used.
Joe caught it on the lure, and this jack has a steel leader coming out of his mouth. Let's see how far back it is. Oh man, it's way in there. Let's see if we can just cut it off. There we are. Yeah. At least proof that they still live. Good work there.
Crazy.
And now we thought that was a good redfish. We just got a nice trout, and now we need a red and a snook, and we thought that was the red, but we'll keep searching. All right, so we're on another shoreline. This is an area that I just found the day before on a scouting trip, a quick scouting trip out there. And again, you can see we're going super slow. It was just flat calm out there, and so we were just trying to be as quiet as possible and just cover as much ground as possible. There, Joe just hooked up, and then you can start seeing that it was coming up to the surface. There was another trout, another nice trout. So it's always fun to catch those, but we just weren't getting the the redfish or snook that we're looking for. I just hooked up another trout. We really just this is a very good trout fishery, and there's Joe taking a selfie. And here's my trout. So nice double up on solid trout. But again, we're still looking for the snook or the red. But the great thing is you just never know when the next strike is going to happen, and then you also never know how big that fish is going to be. So I just got a strike. It was coming toward the boat, so I couldn't tell what it was. And now we just got a glimpse of what this was. This is a nice snook. I could tell immediately that it was over 30 inches, and this is exactly what we were looking for. I saw a couple of decent sized snook around the size the day before, and I didn't even make a cast at them. I was just hoping that they would still be around, and sure enough, at least one was there and one was willing to eat, and man, we were pumped. And so now it's all about just not letting the snook get off. They are very good about chewing through leader, and so you have to be super careful with them. We had the net there ready. Got it. Fish in the boat. Get him in the boat, dude. All right, so that good snook hit the gulp jerk shad on this owner twist lock hook. So we now have a good trout, good snook. Now we just got probably 8 hours or whatever to catch a red. So off to find some redfish. Hoping for the best. This sun's bright. It's gonna get tough, but hopefully we can find one here soon. All right, so we started fishing up toward an oyster bar. You can see an oyster bar up front. Got a strike. I was very hopeful that it was a red. Then it came up to the surface like that, and I thought it was a snook originally, but it turns out to be another nice trout. I just wanted to show this clip. We had just located some big redfish, and you could see how slowly I was walking. That wasn't slow motion. I was really just doing everything I could to not let any vibrations go off into the water. That is a really big deal when you're up in shallow water, especially when it's calm. And unfortunately, my battery just about ran out, and I didn't want to move again to reload the camera. And we actually got the first redfish, while the camera wasn't rolling, unfortunately. All right, so we just got a 15-inch red. So we got this slam officially. It's just a little bit past 9 o'clock. So now it's all about upgrading. Right now, the easiest fish to upgrade is the redfish, and we just saw some nice ones. And so now we're just going to be just hammering this spot. They've been right here along this little mangrove point. So we're gonna hang here for a while and see if we can get you a big one. Yeah, so we hung around this area for a good while. You can see the wind's picking up there. Joe just hooked up again. Another trout. This is just crazy how many nice trout are in this area. That was another solid one. We didn't really see any more redfish, so we decided let's just go ahead and move. So we went to a different location. Went north a few miles, and this is a grass flat that has some oyster bars. I just located it on some online maps, and so Joe was about to switch colors, which I usually recommend against. And sure enough, when he didn't have his line in the water, I was the one to hook up. Again, another great fish, but again a trout. These big trout. It is this Tarpon Springs area is a great trout fishery. Stayed there for a while, caught a handful more trout. Didn't even see any reds, so picked up and literally went straight back to the original spot where we saw those first reds. And I was the wind's picking up, so I anchored the boat down. I wanted to just stop exactly where we saw those big reds, just so that we can make sure we covered that ground. I had a feeling that there were some reds there, and so I really just wanted to make sure we didn't miss out on anything, because we definitely needed some more inches to even have a hope of placing in this tournament. Nice. Hasn't come up yet. Double. Ooh, red. I got a
bigger one on?
Yeah, I got a red. Mine's a little bigger.
Bigger than what you had earlier. What was it?
15. Yeah, it was always fun to double up. Unfortunately, neither of these were big. This one was a little bit bigger than the other. So now we're at a 16-inch red, a 31, snook and a 21 trout, and again that redfish. We just needed to beef it up here in the same spot, and we saw some in the upper 20s, and that's what we were going for. Unfortunately, no luck there, so I literally got on my phone. Those were the only spots I knew of there, so I got on my phone and just found another flat that was similar to the one that we were having that luck in, and so went there, and sure enough, in the first like 10 minutes, hooked up another redfish, but unfortunately not big again. Well, that was the last redfish that was caught. It was just a really fun trip. We had to go to the tournament meetup shortly afterwards, but it was a great time. Tournament fishing, it's always a good time because every hook set, every strike is just that much more exciting because it could be $1,000 strike. You just never know. And this one was uniquely fun because we were really exploring new areas, so it's just thrilling to catch fish in new territory. But then when you have a tournament stake as well, it was just an enjoyable time. We unfortunately did not place. We were just one good redfish away though, so we were we're at least up there. We had our opportunities. We did see a couple upper or slightly over slot reds that we got some good casts to, and we just couldn't get them to eat. So we had our chances, but it was, again, just such a good time and really in freedom. Thank you so much for putting that tournament together. It was a great time and obviously for a great cause. And now for the number one mistake. So by far the number one mistake that I made that day was just planning for the tides. I knew that it was gonna be a low tide, and I went there the day before, and there was plenty of water to get back to my spot, but the water was a little bit higher. And I thought that I would still have enough water to get through even though it was a low tide, and I just totally misjudged. It was too low. I literally couldn't even push the boat in. There was actually one small channel. Once the sun was up higher, I could actually see I probably could have pushed in had I known that channel was there, but that's just part of exploring new waters. You just sometimes don't know the best routes. So number one mistake was I wish I would have been able to get there the day before at the same tides. When I was doing tournaments, I was always mindful to fish the exact same tides of the tournament so that I didn't have any surprises like that. I unfortunately couldn't do that in this case. And I'll say the best decision that we made, so the number one decision that helped us put some good fish in the boat, was that we didn't leave fish to find more fish in hopes of finding fish. So once we did find a good spot, that area that the snook was caught in, that was actually the third pass on that exact same shoreline that the snook finally ate. So I identified that spot as a good feeding zone. There was bait, and we were catching fish every pass. So we just kept going back and forth. And it was actually on the third try that we did it, but once, twice, and on the back again is finally when that snook hit. So if we were just power fishing and we just buzzed that shoreline and didn't go back and went off to the next spot, we literally would not have got that snook. And that was what I was thinking was going to be the toughest fish to get, and it turns out that it was the redfish. But all in all, yeah, it was a great time. We had a lot of fun and met a lot of great people at the post-tournament event. So again, such a fun time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I will put links to all the lures that we use so that you can see exactly what was being used for every catch. And for you super community members, I'll put a link down below where you can see the details on exactly where we were. I'll get down to the lowest level of Google Maps so you can see exactly where we were, where every fish was caught, and really the strategy behind why we moved the few times we did, and then why we actually turned back around and came back to some of the promising spots later that day. So link down below for all that. Thank you so much for your time and watching this video. Hope you can get on the water soon and catch some big ones.